Shalom, my dear friends. Shalom and Shavuot Tov from here in the holy city of Jerusalem on this most auspicious day. Today, Sunday, the 26th of Elul of the year 5777. And here we are entering the very last days of the year 5777. And on this Wednesday night, we shall begin the new year of 5778. May it come to you, to all of us, to all Israel for good and for blessing. Let this year be the year that our chen, our charm and our grace will ascend before the Creator of the world, that we should see Him have mercy upon us and take us out of our exile and into complete redemption. I had said last week that I was hoping to be able to teach tomorrow also this week. However, owing to some changes of plans, as we come up to Rosh Hashanah, I will not be able to teach tomorrow. And for that reason, I've decided to leave our further study of Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, for our studies next week. Next week we shall be already into the new year, and we shall be not studying on Sunday, which is a fast day, the fast of Gedalia, but we shall have studies next week on Monday and Thursday, and the week leading up to Yom Kippur, and that will be a great week to advance further with Shir HaShirim, the love song between our souls, the souls of Israel, and the Holy One, blessed be He. So we shall have an opportunity to go into the coming parshiot of Shir HaShirim without being constrained by time. And so by doing so today, we will gain that we will study one of the letters of the Aleph Bet, the letter next in line for our study, the letter Zayin. And after that, we shall devote a longer session to our studies in Rabbi Nachman's teaching in Likutei Moharan of the hidden light, coming now indeed to what is to my mind one of the great highlights of Likutei Moharan, a most illuminating section about a prayer and how we can be blessed through our prayers with deeper knowledge and connection with God. And since this is a lengthier portion that is not susceptible to be broken up into little pieces, we'll have the time today to do that, and God willing, come to our studies of Shir HaShirim next week after Rosh Hashanah. Before I do go on with the YouTube broadcast, I'm being told that the video connection is somewhat intermittent. Dawn in the Bet Midrash online chat has said that. I'm wondering if anybody else is also having the same experience. Could you let me know on the online Bet Midrash instant messaging facility if you are experiencing any problems of intermittent video connection? All the signals I have from the equipment here are that everything is running supposedly okay. So I would like confirmation from any of the others in the chat room about how your video connection is faring today. Again, on this most auspicious day, the first day of the week leading up to Rosh Hashanah, I'm hearing from some others that there are no problems, all fine. In that case, since the majority are seeming to get the video connection okay, let us proceed with our studies for today. Shalom, today, the 26th day of the month of Elul of the year 5777, corresponding to the 17th of September of the year 2017. And we continue with our studies of the Mishnat Sofrim of the Chafetz Chaim on the forms of the Hebrew letters as they are written in the Sefer Torah scroll and the Tefillin portions and the Mezuzah. And today we are coming to look at the letter Zayin, the seventh of the letters, the letter Zayin, which is said by the Kabbalah to take the essential form of a Yud and a Vav, with the Yud being at the head of this Vav, and the Zayin, the number 7, which is represented by the letter Zayin, is obviously of profound significance. And the idea of the head of the Zayin as a Yud, which is a source of divine blessing and the flow of knowledge into the world, and the elongated leg of the Vav, which is under the head, the Yud, is expressive of how the divine blessing comes from the higher levels down into the lower levels of creation. Of course, besides the simple form of what you see as the square head of the Zayin, you have the 3 tagin, the 3 crowns upon it. But let us now turn to look at the teachings of the Chafetz Chaim in Mishnat Sofrim on the form of the letter Zayin. It tells us that in writing the Zayin, we have to be careful that the leg of the letter Zayin should not be too long. Because if the leg of the Zayin is too long and reaches down below the baseline of the other letters in the text, the Zayin will now look like a final nun, because the shape of the final nun is actually a Zayin with an elongated leg. It's significant that the Zayin represents 7, and 7 times 7 is 49, and 49 is the concept of the 49 pathways of understanding, which are in fact a multiple of, by 7, of the 7 lower Sefirot, and the form of the end Nun would be where this divine influence is coming really from top to bottom, down below. But here in the Zayin, therefore, the scribe must make sure that he does not elongate the leg so as to give the Zayin the possibility of being construed by a child as being a final nun. He continues with the halachot that for that reason the leg of the Zayin should be no longer than 2 breadths of the nib of the pen or the quill with which he is writing. Now, the rules of the head of the Zayin, the shape of the head, are very important because the Zayin must be distinguished from the letter that precedes it in the Aleph Bet, the letter Vav. The letter Vav specifically has a rounded upper right side, but the Zayin, the leg must be standing absolutely in the center of the Rosh, the head of the Zayin. And this distinguishes it from the Vav. And it is no good at all if the leg is towards the too near to the right-hand side of the head and farther away from the left, because in that case the Zayin could be mistaken for a Dalet by a child looking at the scroll. And that is why it's so important for the scribe to make sure that the leg of the Zayin is absolutely in the middle of the head, and that the head is squared in order to distinguish the head of the Zayin from the head of the Vav. Now, as we've mentioned, there are 3 crowns on the head of the Zayin. This is one of the letters Sha'atnez Gat, Shin Ayin Tet Nun Zayin Gimel Tzadik, all of which also have the 3 tagin, which, as we learned, is to give protection by higher spiritual influences to the lower realms from unholy forces. Now, the leg of the Zayin is simply standing horizontally. It must not be. There must not be any twist in the or flick in the writing of the leg by the scribe. The Mishnah Sofrim brings that the custom is for scribes to produce a line that, as it comes down from the head, it meets the head at a narrow point, and the line broadens until the middle of the leg, and from the middle point of the leg, the line again narrows until it reaches a point at the bottom of the leg. Now, if the leg of the letter Zayin were written erroneously by the scribe too short, then the law is the same as we had in the case of the letter Vav, where the scribe may have written, if the scribe had written the letter too short, the problem with the Vav is that if the leg was too short, it could be mistaken by a child for a Yud. And likewise, the Zayin, if the leg was written too short, there would be problems of whether a child could easily identify that letter in the scroll, and if not, the letter is invalid. The prevailing agreement among the halakhic authorities is that the leg must be longer than the height of a yud. If the leg is only just the height of a yud, then it is questionable whether the letter is valid. Not all of the poskim agree that it is, and therefore we must make sure that the leg is longer than the yud, but not too long, so that the Zayin will not be confused with the end nun. Now, if the leg had been improperly written by the scribe in the case of the portions of the tefillin and the mezuzah, as we have seen in the mezuzah and the tefillin, the portions of the Torah have to be written out kesidran, in the order of the letters, and the scribe cannot go back to correct a letter way back in the text. Only if he is in the process of the writing of a letter and he made an error in its writing, he could erase it immediately and write the letter correctly on that. But if he'd already made the mistake and not noticed till he'd written one or more letters after it, then in the case of the Zayin, if he'd written the leg too short and the letter was invalid, he could not go back to correct that. So with that, we conclude our study of the laws relating to the form of the letter Zayin. And with that, my friends, let us take just a brief interval, and after that we shall be coming back to Likutei Moharan to Rabbi Nachman's teaching 15 in the first chelek, the first part of Likutei Moharan, where he speaks about how to attain an apprehension of the hidden light. And as I've mentioned today, we will be spending more time on our study of Likutei Moharan in order to embark upon one of the real highlights of this remarkable work. And this way we shall be summing up what Rabbi Nachman has been teaching us in this teaching, and I think it's a very apt teaching as we stand on the threshold of Rosh Hashanah, one to bring with us into the synagogue and the house of prayer when we go to pray on Rosh Hashanah, in order that we will understand what we can attain indeed through simple devotional reading of the words of the prayers. And if a person is able to attain this for some passages in the service, one may not be able to maintain one's concentration throughout the very lengthy services of Rosh Hashanah, but if one is able to focus one's mind on some of the highlight passages, as Rabbi Nachman teaches us, it is here possible that the letters themselves will begin to reveal levels of godliness that are beyond our power to comprehend in ordinary life. So we shall come to that in just a few moments after a brief interval. Shalom again, my dear friends. Shalom, and back to our studies now. And today coming to Likutei Moharan for the lengthy section that really brings together all that Rabbi Nachman has been teaching us in a most remarkable didactic form. So just let me take a moment to set up the audio recording of today's Rabbi Nachman class. And if everything is ready to go, then let us proceed with the lesson. Shalom, today the 26th day of the month of Elul of the year 5777, corresponding to the 17th of September of the year 2017. And today in our study of Torah 15 in the first chelek, the first part of Likutei Moharan, the Torah of the Or HaGanuz, the hidden light, we come really to the climax of this teaching where Rabbi Nachman employs a didactic method that he has used in the first 15 of the lessons of Likutei Moharan, all of which were said at different times over a period of years, but all of which have a common theme, and that is that each one of them shows that the entire structure that Rabbi Nachman has developed, like in our case where he has given us a pathway from ascending from gut material fear to exalted awe and reverence for God, this pathway that he has outlined for us consists of stages that he has successively built up brick by brick as part of the edifice. In each case, with each step in the pathway, he has carefully related it to the step before and brought everything together. And now he's going to bring the whole thing together, the whole structure together, in relation to a story by one of the outstanding Talmudic sages known by the name of Rabba bar Hana. Rabba bar Hana was an Amorah, that is to say, in the generations after the redaction of the Mishnah by Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, and Rabba bar Hana was living in Babylon 2 generations after the redaction of the Mishnah by Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. And by the time of Rabba bar Hana, the leading sage in the land of Israel was Rabbi Yohanan, not to be confused with Rabban Yohanan ben Zakkai, who lived quite a few generations earlier, spanning the period before and after the destruction of the Second Temple. But here we're speaking about Rabbi Yohanan, who was generations afterwards, Rabbi Yohanan, who is said by Maimonides to have studied as a young student at the feet of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, and he became the leading rabbi in the land of Israel and was the one that redacted the Jerusalem Talmud. Rabba bar Hana, who was living in Babylon, wanted to come to the land of Israel to learn Torah and came to Rabbi Yohanan. And the Talmud reports many, many traditions that are brought from the lips of Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai, Rabbi Yohanan, I'm sorry, not Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai, Rabbi Yohanan to the ears of Rabba bar Hana. The name Rabba bar Hana means that his own name was Rabba, and he was the son of somebody that was called Bar Hana. There had been a woman by the name of Hannah, and her son was known as Bar Hana, and her grandson was known as Rabba Bar, the son of Bar Hana, the son of Hannah. And so that explains the name of Rabba bar Hana. And besides the traditions that he brings down in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Baba Chana is famous for some of the most extravagant Talmudic agadot, stories that rival any adventure story in wildernesses or at sea facing the most amazing and terrifying and enormous monsters. And indeed we shall see in the passage that Rabbi Nachman explains for us in our present teaching the phantasmagorical nature of Rabbi Baba Chana's teachings. Rabbi Baba Chana, after having received Torah from Rabbi Yochanan, later returned to his native Babylon, and he wanted to return to Israel. It's not known if he did or not. In any event, his agadot, his phantasmagorical stories are mainly collected in the Talmud, in the tractate of Baba Basra, the thought of the great gates of the section of Nezikin. Baba Basra in chapter 5 on Daf Ayin Gimel, folio 73, and there are one after the other these most extravagant stories of Rabbi Baba Chana. And Rabbi Nachman said that Rabbi Baba Chana came to him in a dream and appealed to him, to Rabbi Nachman, to explain Rabbi Baba Chana's stories to people so they would not think that these are merely empty allegories, but they are filled with deeper meaning. And that is what Rabbi Nachman set out to do in the first 15 of the lessons of Likutei Moharan. In each one he addresses one of the agadas of Rabbi Baba Chana. And today we come to the section of Torah 15 where Rabbi Nachman interprets the story. So first let us follow the text of the story. This is in section 5 of the teaching in Likutei Moharan, section Hey of teaching 15. V'zeh she'amar Rabbi Baba Chana. This, that is to say, all of the above, is what Rabbi Baba Chana was really talking about. L'didi chozili hahi akrukeso. He's launching into Aramaic, the language of the Amoraim. L'didi, as for me, chozi, I saw, chozili hahi akrukeso. I saw that great frog. We have a perush on the Talmud by the Rashba, one of the medieval sages, whose commentary is brought here on our page in Likutei Moharan, who tells us this akrukasor, this creature, is a tzfardeya. Dahave ki akro dahagronio. Now this frog, says Rabbi Baba Chana, this was like Akro the Hagronia. Akro the Hagronia, that, says our commentator, that was a great city, a large town in those days. He continues, Akro the Hagrunio, this town of Akro Hagrunia, Kamahave, how big was it? To estimate how great was the size of this frog that appeared to Rabbi Baba Chana. Shitin Bate, the village had 60 houses in it. Asotanino Balao, there came a tanin, a reptile like a massive crocodile or alligator, and swallowed this frog. So you can imagine what was the size of the alligator to swallow this frog that is the size of this 60-house town. And after that, Asop Pushkanso, there comes a raven. Ubela'el tanino, the raven now swallows the alligator. So how big was the raven? And this raven then, having swallowed the alligator, flies off with slick. He goes up, Yasiv be'ilona, goes and sits on the tree. So now, Tochazi, come see, come nofish chilu di ilona. How great was the power of the tree. All of the above is Rabbi Bar Bar Chana's narrative. Omer Rav Papo Bar Shmuel, said Rav Papo, the son of Shmuel, Ilav dehave osam loy emne. If not that I was there, I would not have believed him. A remarkable saying from a fellow sage of Rabbi Bar Bar Chana, that it would really be quite incredible were it not for the fact that he himself had actually seen it. And so this is the Agadah that Rabbi Nachman tells us, and he's going to show us stage by stage, word by word, how each of the ideas that he has expounded in the teaching is actually alluded to in this Agadah of Rabbi Bar Bar Chana. Akruxo, commenting on the concept of the frog, Perish Rabbanu Shmuel, the Rashbam, the commentator on the Talmud, says, as we saw, that is a tzefardea, a frog. V'zeh bechinas aliyas hayiro l'shosho. This frog alludes to the whole idea that was the foundation of the first part of the teaching, the aliyah, the ascent of yiro, of the faculty of fear, l'shosho, up to its root, hainu da'as, to elevate awe and fear to its roots in the knowledge in the heart of God, the knowledge and the apprehension of God in the heart, not to be afraid of earthly creatures who are only emissaries of God. And this is alluded to in the tzefardea. Now Rabbi Nachman analyzes the Hebrew word for frog, tzefardea, hi milo murkeves. This is actually a word that is a compound. Tzipor deo, the bird of knowledge. This is a bird that is able to fly up. And the bird of knowledge is alluded to here in Rabbi Bar Bar Chana's Agadah, and this is mentioned also in the Midrashic Tana Devei Eliyahu in chapter 7, and also the Kavanot of the Haggadah, the writings of Rabbi Yitzhak Luria, the Ari on the inner intentions of the Haggadah of the night of Pesach, relating to the second plague in Egypt, the plague of Tzfardea, the frog. What is the deeper meaning of this metaphor? V'tzipor u'bechinas yiro, the bird that is standing for the faculty of awe and fear. Bechinas eretz. Now, we've already seen that the faculty of fear and awe is expressed by the symbol of earth. It's the ground on which we stand. The ground on which we stand is to know that there is a God that we must be afraid of because of his power over us, his creatures. So that's the earth. It's the bottom of all the attributes. The heavens are shining down with blessing to this world, but it's the earth which is the receiving vessel, the idea of malchut, and malchut is to know there is a king, that is the yir, or the fear. So now Rabbi Nachman brings the association between the bird and the concept of yir'ah from the verse in Isaiah chapter 24, Mikanaf ha'oretz zemiros. The prophet says, from literally the wing of the earth have we heard songs. This is the prophet Isaiah's way of teaching about the songs through which prophecy came to him in chapter 24. In this phrase, mikanaf ha'oretz, where the earth has a kanaf, a wing, that is the association with the concept of a bird. And a second association between the concept of the bird is contained in the verse in Isaiah chapter 60, where speaking about the coming of the returning exiles of Israel, it says, Mi ele ta'ufena, who are these who are flying? Well, today's olim coming to the land of Israel from outside normally do fly in, and the verse there says, Mi ele, who are they? These letters, Mi ele, oisies Elokim, these letters rearranged spell out the name Elokim. Mi ele ko'ov tu'ufenu, who are those that are flying in like the cloud? There in the verse in Isaiah chapter 60, again, the concept of flying here associated with the divine name of Elokim, that is to say, the name of Elokim is particularly associated with fear and awe. V'deo hi shoresh ayiro. Deo, the second component of the word tzfar deo, having just shown that the tzfar tzipor alludes to yir'o, and deo is the second part of the word, that is shoresh hayiro. Deo and da'as are essentially the same root and slightly different aspects of the same concept of knowledge and awareness of God. So the Hebrew word tzfar dea contains both the yir'ah, the fear of heaven itself, and its shoresh, its root in deo, in knowledge. Now, Rabbi Bar Hana went on in his narrative to say about this akukus, or this tzfar dea that he saw, v'damya le'akro dehagronio. It was like the town of Akro of Hagronio. Well, now, Rabbi Nachman, in his way, makes a hekesh, a comparison of the use of words across the holy writings, and he refers us to Isaiah chapter 58, where the prophet is told, Kro v'goron, call out with your throat, call out through your throat in your message to the people. Those words, Kro v'goron, here they are exactly in the name of the town cited by Rabbi Bar Hana, Akro dehagronio, Kro garon, call out of your throat. Shezeh bechinas Torah shebaniglo. This calling out from the throat, this is called the level of the revealed Torah. When we learn the Torah, be it the Tanakh, be it the Halachot, be it the Mishnah or the Talmud, we don't just read silently with our eyes and try to comprehend. With the Torah, we actually bring the words out on our mouth and lips as we read them, and that is part of our limud, to let our ears hear clearly the sounds of the words as they come forth from our mouths, and this is bringing the Torah and its vibrations into the world, and this is an idea that is in a saying of our sages, which Rabbi Nachman now quotes, like our sages of blessed memory said in Tractate Eruvin on Daf Nun Dalet Amud Aleph, folio 54a, L'moitzi ehem bapeh. King Solomon in Proverbs said that the Torah is the supreme treasure for those that find the Torah. And in his verse in Proverbs, the word is motzeihem, that they are a treasure to those motzeihem, those who find the words of Torah. They are his treasure. Now, our sages darshaned on this verse. They're in Eruvin lemoitzi-ehem. They simply added a little yud in the middle to turn the word motzeihem, those who find them, into motzi-ehem, into a hifil, those who bring them out, bapeh, in their mouth. In other words, they're a treasure to the person. When he reads the Torah, he actually says the words one after the other, verbally, audibly, out loud. And therefore, the idea of kro vagoron, call out with your throat, that is associated by Rabbi Nachman with the concept of calling out words of Torah from your throat, a concept that he's referred to earlier in the Likutei Moharan, in Torah Gimel, in the first Chelek, the third Torah. And he says the association here of this akrukta, this frog, which is the size of this village, is because through the elevation of fear up to its root in knowledge and awareness of God in the heart, this is how we attain to the revealed Torah. It's one thing to read the words, but to understand and to attain a comprehension of them, that depends upon having our fear and reverence of God in our hearts, in our consciousness and knowledge. And thus Rabbi Nachman is establishing the second step in this pathway, which is that as we elevate our faculty of fear to the level of knowledge, this brings us to a comprehension of the revealed Torah. And then Rabbi Baba Chana went on in his narrative, according to Rashba, the commentator here in the Talmud on Likutei Moharan. According to Rashbam, it is here the Talmud interjecting, since we are not likely to have known the size of this village, Akra de Hagronia Kamahavo. How big was this village? Said the Talmud, Shitin Bati, it was 60 houses. What do these 60 houses allude to? Ze bechinas tefillo. This here, the level one reaches through attaining a comprehension of the revealed Torah. One comes to the level of the Shitin Bati, the 60 houses of prayer. Why is prayer called 60 houses? This is what Rabbi Nachman will now go on to elaborate. But first he deals with the concept of an actual house. A house contains something. And our prayers are words that contain meaning. They are containers of meaning. And this is a remarkable feature of our prayers, the prayers particularly in the Siddur, in our traditional prayer book, about what these words really are. So before we get to the reason for the 60 houses, Rabbi Nachman is first going to explain the whole possibility of prayer. When we call out to the Holy One, blessed be He, addressing Him with descriptions that apply to flesh and blood, like the mighty, the compassionate, the kind, the powerful, and all of the other attributes. These are attributes which we know about through terrestrial beings, but we have words in our prayers that apply these descriptions to God. And through prayer, Hu Nimtza, He is available and present to us. B'chol koreinu elov, in all of our calling out to him in these words of the prayer, this very possibility of such prayers that encapsulate the infinite, incomprehensible God in terms that are comprehensible to the human mind through our knowledge of earthly beings. Ze chesed Hashem yisborach. This is the chesed, the expansive kindness of his blessed name of God. Ki im lo hoyo b'chaste Hashem yisborach. For if it were not for the kindnesses of Hashem Yisborach, God, blessed be He, lo hoyo kedai likroi ulechanois es Hashem Yisborach, but to orim u'shevochim v'tevos v'oisios. It would not be appropriate to call out and to address Hashem, may He be blessed, with ta'arim and shevachim, with descriptions and praises and words and letters. God is infinite and defies all fathoming and comprehension. How can you bring God into descriptions and words and letters? Aval zeh hakol chesed shel Hashem yisborach. This is God's kindness that He has made available to us, the ability to use the letters and words of language and images in order to communicate with Him. V'zeh shitin bote. This is the allusion in these 60 houses, which is the size given by the Talmud to that town of Akra de Hagunio. 60 houses, zeh bechinas chesed. This alludes to the attribute of kindness, and that's why Rabbi Nachman has made this association between these shitin bati, these 60 houses, and the concept of prayer. Why is this Avram? What does this have to do with Avraham? Kamoshe Kosuv, as it's written in Shir Hashirim, in chapter 6, Shishim hemo melochis. 60 are the queens. There are the verses talking in the mouth of the lover, praising his beloved, that there are 60 queens and 80 consorts, but you alone, my bride, are unique. So who are these 60 malachot, the 60 queens? Perish Rashi says, Rashi, the commentator there, Zeh bechinas Avraham. This alludes to Abraham and to 60 souls that are enumerated in the Torah in relation to Abraham. Ubote, the houses in question, these are Loshon Bote Malchus. These are the houses of Malchut, of kingship. V'zeh samchuni b'ashishois. So here we come to Rabbi Nachman discussing a different verse in Song of Songs in chapter 2, where the beloved, in her swooning and longing for her lover, she says, Samchuni bo'ashishois, sustain me with ashishois, which we translated literally as flagons of some wine or invigorating beverage. But the word ashishois actually bears another connotation in Hebrew, and that is of a screen of glass, like the glass in a window. Says Rabbi Nachman, Kamoshe masimin ashishois keneged or godel. Just like one might place screens in front of a great light, for example, when people wanted to watch the eclipse of the sun and they had to have special screens through which to view it to reduce the intensity of the light. In order to be able to look at the great light through the screens, through the filters, Kain Goza Chastoi, so decreed his kindness in the kindness of God, Lismoich Oisanu, to support us, but to Orim Ushavochim Ho'elu, with these descriptions and these praises, we find them in the Torah itself, given through prophecy to Moses, and the words of Moses describing God as Agadol, Agibor, Hanora, the great, the mighty, and the awesome. And these are terms which we gain understanding of through the material world, through our concept of greatness and great size in the material world, and Gibor, Gevurah in the material world. God has given us these descriptions out of His kindness. V'zeloshen samchuni. This is alluded to in the phrase in Song of Songs, samchuni, support me, sustain me. Shehu b'chenas samach. This has the root of the name of the letter samach, which has a numerical value of 60. So this concept of these 60 queens, Bechinas Avraham, which collectively the 60 queens are all the aspect of Abraham, Shehu Bechinas Samach Bati, these are the 60 houses. That is to say, Abraham is known to be the emblem of loving kindness, of chesed, and Abraham is indeed one of the first that really prays in the Torah. We hear his prayers to God, and Abraham set out the pathway of prayer. Abraham, associated with the aspect of chesed, is the top of 6 aspects, beginning the 7 of the lower Sefirot. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. These 6 attributes are all stemming forth from Abraham. Abraham fathered Isaac, who fathered Jacob, associated with Gevurah and Tiferet, respectively, and they were the ancestors of Moshe and Aaron, Netzach and Hod, and Jacob, the father of Yosef, associated with Yesod. These 6 aspects all come forth from Abraham, and all expressions of Abraham, all different aspects of the totality of divine service contained in Abraham, and associated with these different figures and different attributes are different phrases with which we address and praise God according to His different attributes. All of these names and forms of address are discussed at great length in the remarkable Kabbalistic work Sharei Orah, which is available on zamra.org in a complete online audio translation of this remarkable work, going through the attributes one by one and setting forth the names and forms of address of God that are associated with each one. And this, Rabbi Nachman is saying, this is the chesed, the kindness of God, that He has provided us with a world that has letters and words and symbols and metaphors, all of which are able to serve as vehicles to come to know God. And so now, going further in this venture, we follow through Rabbi Nachman's continuation of the interpretation of the Agadah, the story of Rabbi Bar Chana. Ve'aso taninu uvaleo. There was this Tzfar De'ah, the bird of knowledge, who opens up to us the ability to come to the revealed Torah, and then the revealed Torah, Rabbi Nachman had taught, brings us to the ability to pray, and we just got into the service of prayer, but all of a sudden along comes Asataninu V'la, comes along the alligator, the crocodile, and swallows this frog. Taninu ze bechinas nochosh. This tanin is the nochosh, the serpent, the archetypal reptile, which is emblematic of the Yetzer Ra, the source of our bad thoughts and impulses and desires. Shemesis es ha'adam shispalel leso'eles atzmoi, that persuades the person to pray for the benefit of himself. For example, bring us life, health, healing, mezono, sustenance, livelihood. Or she'or to'eles, send me this, bring me that. And that perverts prayer from its essential role, which is to serve as the conduit for our knowledge and apprehension of God through devotion to the words. And this, Rabbi Nachman says, is alluded to in the coming section of the Agadah, Ve'asa pushkanso uval'a. There came a pushkansa, Peresh Rabbeinu Shmuel Oirev, a raven, uval'a, he swallowed the reptile, swallowed the nachash, the serpent. V'amru chachomenu zichronam livrocho, our sages of blessed memory have said, Mi shemashchir ponov, the one who blackens his face, who darkens his face, ke'orev, like the raven, u'mi shenaso achzori al bonov ke'orev, and the one that becomes cruel to his children, like the raven. Explains Rabbi Nachman, Hainu shemispalel beli shum kavanos to'eres atzmoi. Namely, that he darkens himself to everything material, to everything that he wants to gratify himself or he thinks that he needs. Mispalel beli shum kavanos to'eres atzmoi, has no intention for the benefit of himself. V'eno choshev lichlum es atzmoi. He is not thinking about himself at all. There is nullified his very essence and his physicality. He becomes nullified as if he is not in the world. Here Rabbi Nachman is expressing an essential facet of his teaching about the basic nature of prayer, which is to follow our traditional texts of prayer, the Shmona Esrei, the Amidah prayer, and the other prayers and blessings, and follow the words one by one as we bring them forth from our mouths, focusing on their meaning. And in these blessings and prayers, we are praying not for our own benefit, but for God. Our prayer is an act of service to God, because God has decreed that He wants the service of prayer, which is the service of reciting and bringing forth from our lips these formulae of words and letters which have been brought down to us through our prophets. And when a person completely nullifies themselves to the words, and they are entirely focused, they're only hearing the words reverberating in their mind as they go from word to word in the prayers. And as I said before, this may be practiced, for example, in a chosen section of the service where a person really intently focuses word by word. K'moshe Kosuv, like it's written in Psalms 44, Ki olecho heragnu kol hayoim. Over you, O Lord God, haragnu, we are killed, we are slaughtered every day in our prayers. We slaughter our atzmut and our gashmiut, our ego and our self and our physicality and our material aspect, as if we are not in the world. We are killed through this. We're killing our mundane material self. So this is alluded to in Song of Songs chapter 5, where the beloved is praising the dark locks of hair of her lover. They are dark like the raven. So here the allusion of the raven is to turning our prayers from being self-centered to being God-centered. We are cruel to ourselves by not focusing on what we believe we need, but on sending our prayers selflessly to God to raise His Shekhinah, to join the Shekhinah with the Holy One, blessed be He, to make unification. Through this aspect of, in other words, coming to pray selflessly, this way now the raven was able to, which had swallowed the reptile, that had swallowed the frog, gets up and sits on the tree. Through this intent prayer, the person is able to reach an apprehension of the Torah that is hidden away behind the surface. K'moshe Kosuv, as it's written in Psalm 18, King David's song of praise to God from redeeming him from all of his enemies, Yoshes Choshech Sisroi. Yoshes, he will make or place Choshech, darkness, Sisroi, as his secret place, the place of his secret dwelling. God is present and dwelling secretly even in the darkness. Shesisrei Torah, for the secrets of the Torah, Adam Zeichel Ohem Alidei Choshech. The person, Hainu Mesiras Nefesh, showing the path of Torah to the Sisrei Torah, to the secrets of Torah, which is an aspect of the person in determination, depth of the apprehension. Tree of life, the secrets of the Torah. That is where the souls and all of the spirit is all kindred levels of the through which God souls. So it is in the tree, the souls, mishpatim, kol nishmasin is the aspect of the world to come. Shesham arichun, for their length of days. After we may ami, the prophet, like the days of the tree, are the generation, the fruits, that the aspects of souls. And the prophet describes this tree as a tree that has endless time. To these secrets of Torah that are beyond time and space of the material world, a person can attain through this intense prayer. And here we now come to another amazing secret explained to us by Rabbi Nachman here in this teaching. The mystery of how it is that higher consciousness is attracted to our words in our prayers when we reach this selfless state of prayer. Ki HaKadosh Baruch Hu mis'aveh lesfiloson shel Yisrael. The Holy One desires and yearns for the prayers of Israel. It's a principle that is stated in the Talmud, that God sometimes sends even afflictions to the righteous to bring forth their very prayers. Now when Israel are in prayer before Him and fulfilling His desire, the fulfillment of His desire turns, as it were, if we can even say such a thing, the Holy One, blessed be He, into the aspect of a woman. He receives delight from us when we are really focusing intently on our prayers, and not only on the fixed and set prayers, but when we are at the very height of our private prayers from the heart in Hitbodedut, and we express everything in our heart, and everything flows out, things that we could not have imagined that we could say before Him. This gives Him delight that we bring everything out before Him. כמו שכתוב, איש ריח ניחוח להשם. Here Rabbi Nachman quotes the verse in Numbers chapter 28, the portion of Pinchas, which is setting forth the daily and weekly and monthly and festival sacrifices, where they are called Ishe, literally we would translate this as from the word Esh, a fire offering, Reach Nichoach, Reach, a fragrance that is Nichoach, that is pleasant and delightful, LeHashem, to God. So this phrase is used in the 5 books of Moses in the Torah to speak about the sacrifices in the temple. But actually our prayers are our fulfillment of the sacrifices in our time. And the same is accomplished, that our prayers are the fragrant, savored and odor that comes to God. Ishe reach nichoach. Ishe, here the word a fire offering is also the letters of the Hebrew word isha, which is a woman. And this is the association Rabbi Nachman is making between the word in the verse about the sacrifice, ishe, and the idea that God, having fulfillment of His desire through our prayers, being in the role of isha. Through this fragrant odor that he receives, he becomes, as it were, in the aspect of an isha, a woman. And we have a verse in Jeremiah chapter 31 speaking about unekevo t'suiviv gover. The female will go around the male. This verse is actually the source of the Jewish custom when the bride comes under the marital canopy to circuit her husband-to-be 7 times before they actually celebrate the kiddushin, the bond between them. But the verse in Jeremiah, here Rabbi Nachman is bringing to show that when God goes into the role of, as it were, the Isha, the woman, she is now to Sovev Gover, she is surrounding the male that is cast in the role of the person that is praying, because the person that is praying is now the Mashpia, the active partner who is speaking forth the words of prayer. That is to say that the Holy One, blessed be He, na'asehi, as it were, turns into, he becomes in the aspect of a malbush nigle, a revealed garb. That is to say that the words of the prayer are the garb, and God now, through this intensity and the fulfillment of His desire that He receives from the prayer, He now lets the word become a malbush nigla, a garment that is revealed, where to the person that is praying is revealed levels of godliness that are not apprehensible normally in this world, but are now open up to the person praying at that moment through the intensity of their prayer. That is to say, the Holy One, blessed be He, the God that we seek to know through our studies of the Torah, through our knowledge of God. Previously, He was initially benistar, He was concealed. Achshav niskale al yedei hatfilo. But now the Holy One, blessed be He, is revealed through the prayer, through the person praying, through the words of their prayer. Now the Holy One, blessed be He, and His Torah are all one. They're a unity. The Holy One, blessed be He, is His Torah. His contracted himself into the words and letters of the Torah, and he is in a unity with these words and letters. He is one with the Torah, and therefore, since the Holy One, blessed be He, is now using the words of the prayer of the person praying as a garb for his self-revelation, ve'oz al yedei tefillah, there through the prayer, niskale oraiso, is revealed the Torah. Hainu sisrei oraiso, that is the secrets of the Torah. In other words, the blessing that God will bring to the person praying with such fervor is that there will be opened up to him a knowledge of the Torah, which is on the levels of the secrets of the Torah, over and above what the person would normally be able to apprehend. And continuing with Rabbi Nachman's conclusion of his explanation of the Agadah of Rabbi Baba Chana, Toch Chazeh, go see, Kamo nofish chelo di ilono, how strong and powerful was the might of the tree. That is the concluding words of Rabbi Baba Chana. Hainu kamo nofish chelo da ai sisrei Torah. That is to say, how great is the power of the secrets of the Torah. She'en yecholim leslabesh b'shum dover mugbol. For the secrets of the Torah are not able to be clothed in anything that has limit, because the secrets of the Torah are infinite, go on forever and ever. B'shum guf, they cannot be contracted into any body. Ela b'misha machshir bonov ka'orev, v'nase ka'orev al bonov. Except to somebody that darkens their face like the raven and becomes like the raven to its children. In other words, the person is like the raven to their very self, to their own personal interests and their perceived needs and desires, but is offering their prayers as an act of service to God. So with that, we conclude our study of Rabbi Nachman's Likutei Moharan for today. There are ensuing sections of this beautiful teaching, but I think we've heard enough for today to bring us well prepared for the lengthy prayer services of Rosh Hashanah later this week, beginning Wednesday night, and we shall know now to really focus at certain points in the service to the best of our ability to concentrate on particular sections of our prayers, and through the fervor, without trying to test it, without trying to peep and take a peek and see if, well, it works or not. If we will do it just for the sake of service, then with God's kindness and mercy, He will shine to us. So that is the conclusion of our studies for today. With the help of God, we shall be studying next week in the Kollel classes on Monday and Thursday of next week, but no more Kollel classes this week, giving us a chance to make necessary preparations for Rosh Hashanah. And I'll be back, God willing, in 1830 hours Israel time, speaking about the coming Rosh Hashanah, the Day of Judgment. So for now, Shalom from Jerusalem, and I'll be happy to see you with me in just an hour for my discussion of the coming Yom Hadin. Shavua Tov, blessings, and to all of you, Ketiva v'chatima tova, a good and a blessed a writing and a sealing for good, and Shana Tova Mureched, a good and a blessed year 5778. Shalom.